The U of L men's basketball program learned its fate after a 5-year investigation into several scandals. The program has to pay a $5,000 fine, will be on probation for 2 years, and will face minor recruiting restrictions. The Independent Accountability Review Panel had the final say on the pay-for-play scandal. That alleged that Adidas had promised to funnel $100,000 to Brian Bowen's family in 2017 if Bowen played for U of L. Well, the investigation found Adidas acted alone. U of L parted ways with then head coach Rick Pitino and athletic director Tom Jurich. Got a lot of direction going on in the studio at the moment. Chris Mack took over in 2018. Oh goodness, the investigation found level 3 violations during Mack's time at U of L. This story's not funny, sorry, we'll explain in a moment. He got in trouble for personalized recruiting videos and unauthorized people at practice, but he wasn't punished. Hey, Rick Bozich is here to talk about it. What I was laughing about is Rick was trying to be so quiet and coming to the studio, and Sterling was telling him to go ahead and have a seat. So the whole time I was reading Sterling's story.
Rick, you were standing there. I knew we were getting close to the segment, and I thought, you know what? When we cut to the camera, I would like for Rick to be seated and prepared, opposed to standing up and getting in the seat. Right. So welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you, Rick.
We are glad you're here.
We have
a lot to be back with y'all.
Yes, sir. You're welcome anytime. We have a lot to talk about. The decision coming down, the impact it has on U of L's men's basketball program. A lot of people are saying they got off too easy. What was your reaction to the news, Rick?
I was surprised at what the penalty was, just as athletic director Josh Hurd was, just as Kenny Payne was. I thought there might be some scholarship reductions, outside chance of a postseason ban. And way back when this all began, the doom and gloomers were saying death penalty. Wasn't anything like that at all. But I disagree with the take that there was no penalty, because if you look at what's happened to Louisville basketball over 5 years and how it's been diminished, crowd support, its status nationally, the losing, and the toll on people's lives who've been involved in this. Sure. It was a long penalty. You can't go 5 years from the time they've been investigating something until the time you give a penalty and not pay a price.
I mean, it did have an effect on recruiting, whether it was direct or indirect. People were concerned about, well, what's going to happen there? Maybe I won't go there. So what does this mean going forward? What happens now in the future for U of L, and how do they turn this around?
Well, I mean, you got to do it day by day, recruiting class by recruiting class, game by game. Kenny Payne said, starting yesterday, when they played their exhibition game last night against Chaminade, that the rebuild began yesterday. And I think a very smart thing he did was, yesterday afternoon, he organized a Zoom call or a conference call with the parents of all the current players and got them all on the line and said, here's what the penalty was, here's what it means, here's what's happening going forward. And I'm sure they've been on the line with future recruits and said, hey, it's all clear. And I know I heard last night at the arena that they had a top 20 recruit from the 2024 class coming in this weekend. I think they're trying to capitalize on the fact that there's no penalty.
All right, let's talk about the two former coaches, and Chris Mack and Rick Pitino.
Right.
So do they have a clean slate and they can move forward? Do you expect Rick Pitino to leave Iona and maybe get a higher profile coaching job?
Well, I heard a word I've never heard before in these NCAA things, and that's exonerated, and that's the word that was given to Rick Pitino. And he had a national press conference yesterday. They got the word out to all media members everywhere. He wanted that message to be out, and I don't blame him. He was asked the question. He was at Iona. What is he going to say? He loves it there. He lives on Wingfoot Country Club. He's from New York. But I know Rick Pitino and how competitive he is, and I think if a prime job would be open, he would be a candidate. As for Chris Mack, he tweeted 4 things. A lot of them were conciliatory towards U of L, thanking them for the opportunity. But he's sitting out this year, still living in Louisville, and if he wants to get back in coaching, he's all ready to go too.
Okay, well, a lot of talk on social media about putting the banner back up. Is there any chance that happens?
I don't think so, Candace. That was determined by the NCAA Committee of Infractions. That was a separate case. Josh Hurd talked about, they'll at least discuss it, but I can't see. The NCAA Enforcement Division and the NCAA itself was sort of embarrassed by this case, by what the ruling was by the IARP. First time I've said that right in all week. But
it's a mouthful.
The NCAA I don't think would want to revisit that or reverse its decision. So it's a popular topic, but it's really not connected with what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay, some good intel. Rick, thank you so much.
All right, I'm not going to make any noise when I'm getting up, so I'll be real quiet.
I apologize for I disrupted the interview, and I was trying to make sure it was not disrupted.
We're all good. I always like coming in
ending.
here because I always leave with a smile.
Well, we are glad to have you here. Thank you for your insight.
Right.
And he has a full article, a very thorough one, up on our website that you can read on WDRB.com. Just click on sports, and you'll find it.